Greetings to everyone out there in YouTube land. I'm Ahmed Hassanin, and I just want to give a shout out to Coach Dan. Thank you for all the support you show the team and the players. Everyone hit the like, subscription button, and yell woo in the comments. Thank you, and go Lions.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Hey, it's Friday. It's Lions Talk Live, and we got a little bit of something to talk about. I've coached for a really long time, and here's one thing I've learned to do right off the bat, real quick. Don't talk mess or junk about the other team you're going to play right before you're going to play them, because you know what? People don't forget that kind of stuff. While sometimes this stuff can be taken as, kind of innocent, hey, people just, thumping their chest, trying not to back down from the big guy in the room or whatever. Probably if you're Jake Browning, the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, you probably should have rethought that. Probably should have not have said what you wanted to say to the opposing reporters in the room, whatever. Because you know what? You just added a little bit of rocket fuel to the Detroit Lions. It would seem quite clear the Detroit Lions got the message. And you know what? They're circling his name, his jersey number on the dry erase board because you know what? They might just have a little bit extra pep in their step as they go and take down the opposing quarterback. We're going to get into what Jake Browning did or probably should not have done in the main topic today. We're going to break it down. We're going to break down the game as well, getting ready for Sunday's game. And I do think it's going to be a favorable contest for the Detroit Lions. Let's not forget it's a 4:30-ish game because originally when this game was set up, we all get it, man. Their quarterback was different. They were expected to be out there with Joe Burrow, and this would have been probably a primetime game. Another one of the monster games on the gauntlet for the Detroit Lions this year. Unfortunately, their quarterback's down, and now you watch the way they played since Joey Burrow's gone down. It's not looking good for Cincinnati. In fact, you want to look at let's see where I got it here. Summary for this game. Lions are 10.5-point favorites over Cincinnati. Not only are they the home team, but they're favored to lose by over a touchdown and a field goal. That's, that really tells you what Vegas thinks of the Cincinnati Bengals without Joey Burrow. Detroit's offense has been humming on all cylinders as of lately, basically since game one. The Cleveland Browns did slow them down a little bit. You guys get that, but we can also say this. The Cleveland Browns defense isn't going to be playing this week. Lions defense will make life miserable for Bengals quarterback Jake Browning. And again, we'll get into that during the main topic of the day because Jake Browning didn't do himself any favors. Before we get into that, though, before we get on the 5 headlines now and everything else in between, before we get to School with Professor Steele halfway through the show, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're making that march for 14,800 subs. We're 13 subs away from that, and then obviously the march is on for 15,000. So if you can help out with that, man, I surely would be thankful of your efforts. Also, if you have a free moment while you're hitting that subscribe button, reach on down, reach on up, down, left, wherever it is on your screen, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons. We try to get every episode of the show between 200, 300, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. Last but never least, hey, the holidays are almost here. Fall is leaving us, and winter will be here soon. So as you can see scrolling on the bottom of the screen, are you looking for window cleaning? Maybe your home washed, gutters cleaned out, holiday lights hung up. It could be any one of these things. Then go to CustomShineWindowCleaning.com or call Tom McKenzie at 248-363-1911. They've been serving over the greater Oakland County area since 1997. You want two good people. They got nothing but good work to do, great reviews, great efforts. Then go ahead and give me a call. Go ahead and give them a text, whatever it may be. They're going to help you out. They're going to treat you right. They're a part of the Duke crew. So you know what? Do supports the do. Give him a call, shoot him a text, see what Tom McKenzie can do for you. All right, all that done, set out of the way. Let's get the show rocking, rolling, going, kicking off with 5 headlines now. All right, 5 glorious headlines coming our way. 5 predictions for Detroit Lions at Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. At Lions Sports, story by Nicky Meyer. Nicky Meyer's got some thoughts on it. I think we all probably have some thoughts on it. Like we were talking about just a minute ago, the Lions are favored by a whole lot. And with what the Lions offense has been doing, along with what the Bengals haven't been stopping, I think there's a real possibility the Lions put up 30 to 40 points. You have to tune in tomorrow morning to see what Dan O'Damas has to say about it. But I think we can say this. There's every opportunity for the Detroit Lions offense. Even if the defense doesn't show up much, Lions offense should be out there and be able to put up some real points and damage. Whether it's the rushing attack, the passing attack, we'll have to wait and see. All right, his 5 thoughts on this game. Lions will force 3 turnovers or more. And you know what? The way the Bengals have been taking care of the ball in the last 2 weeks, man, I'm surprised it's just 3 turnovers. Could it be the Lions get a couple, strip sacks? Absolutely. Maybe a couple interceptions? Also true. For some fumbles, I think we'd all be surprised if we didn't. But between, Aiden Hutchinson and Aquadin Muhammad, here's what we know. The Lions are going to put some pressure on them. They may even blitz them a lot. They may not have to blitz. The Bengals offensive line has been a little beat up. All right, next on the list, Jahmyr Gibbs will complete a 100-plus all-purpose yards. Probably not a big shocker there. Gibbs has been playing well. David Montgomery's been playing well. Could either one of them, or maybe even both of them, rush for over 100 yards? It is possible. But because of Gibbs' extra layer in the passing attack, and not that David Montgomery doesn't affect the passing game, Gibbs just kind of jumps out there a little bit more. I think we can all anticipate he could have a pretty big game. I don't do fantasy football, but I know a bunch of you do. Man, I might be tempted to take either one of these guys because I think they're going to put up some big yardage. Goff to throw for over 200 yards. If the Bengals really can't stop the Lions' rushing attack, which I know we were talking about earlier this week, I think they're going to have to commit 7 to 8 guys to stop the Lions' pound and ground attack. And if they do that, that passing attack is going to be wide open, especially with the play action pass, something Goff achieves and excels at. So here's what my thoughts. I think Goff could have over 300, maybe 380-ish yards if the Lions really want to put up the points. You start adding in some turnovers, some stops on D, I think the Lions offense has got all the potential in the world to put up some stuff. Number 2, Jake Bates will kick 2 or more field goals. I'm going to say, at least with this thought, I hope he's wrong on this. And this being the author of this story, Nick Myers, I hope he's wrong with this because if the Lions are kicking field goals, it means they're not scoring touchdowns. And I'd rather him score touchdowns. But could he kick more than 2 field goals? Absolutely. Lions, last one will be Lions win easily in an easy game in Cincinnati. And again, kind of beating a dead horse here. I just don't see any layer of the game where the Bengals make it competitive. It doesn't mean they don't have some good players. They do have some good players. Doesn't mean that they can't, effectively stop the run or opposing quarterback in certain situations. They can. They've got talent. Heck, we've talked for the last 17 years, it seems like, about the Lions trading to acquire, Trey Hendrickson. But Trey Hendrickson by himself isn't going to stop this Lions offense. There's just too much going on. If I had to guess, the Lions are probably going to cover that spread pretty easily. Nick Meyer has the final score being 42-21. What do you guys think about that? All right, spent too much time on that one. Let's go to the next of the 5 glorious headlines now. 4 Detroit Lions get early season, quote, all-pro, end quote, honors at Lions Sports. Nick Myers with this one. For those who maybe weren't aware, yesterday Pro Football Focus put out some awards. Let's go to those awards. And I'll even get this off the screen to make it a little cleaner to see. PFF 2025 NFL First Quarter All-Pro Team. The second team, you obviously see Aiden Hutchinson and Brian Branch made it. Both guys have had some pretty good starts to the season. Obviously, that's why they're on the second team. How good could they be by the end of the year? I think both of them are going to be in contention as long as they continue their pace to be All-Pro, NFL All-Pro nominations. Hutch, if you missed it earlier this week, we covered this. His 2023 season, he had 11.5 sacks, and then in the last 9 games of his NFL career, because you guys know last season was cut off short for him, and then the start of this one, he's had 11.5 sacks. He's on a monster pace. and I get there are people in the national media or Lions media or Detroit media say, man, he's not worth this, that, and the other thing. He can't beat the double teams consistently. Here's what I can say. Come up with all excuses you want every single game he goes out there. All I know is this. In the last 2 seasons, when he's been able to play, he's been a monster. And I'm just not sure if there's maybe 10 guys in the league doing it better than him. Maybe 5 guys in the league doing it better than him. I could probably think of 1 or 2 that I would, if I had to pick some sort of draft between him and them, that I would take over him. But you're talking about 1 or 2 guys overall, not a whole lot of guys. Brian Branch, we talk about him all the time on the show. He's here, he's there, he's every skipping where. I mean, he is Roy Kent on the field. He can stop everything. He play every position on D. I'm surprised they don't line him up at defensive end sometimes. If they want him to punt or kick field goals, I wouldn't be surprised. He's that talented, that versatile, and I think for the most part, he doesn't get much respect from national media. Lions media does respect him, but we watch him all the time. We know what he is. But the national media, I feel like they're often silent on him. All right, next one here. The first teamers, no big surprise here. You got Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown. St. Brown's had a monstrous start to his season, legendary start to the season with what he's done in the first quarter of the season. Penei Sewell, we often talk about it on the show. He is only 24 years old. And you look at where he's playing in his 24th year on this earth, he's the best offensive lineman in the league, bar none. There's nobody else that's more complete in the pass blocking, run blocking. There's some great offensive linemen in this league. Penei Sewell, in my humble opinion, probably a homer since I cover the Lions. He is the best of the best of the best. And you know what? Lions are going to have him for maybe another decade, maybe a decade and a half. He chooses to play that long. So, anyways. All right, next to the 5 glorious headlines. Lions and Lee McNeil back practicing after December ACL injury. Eric Woodyard, ESPN. For those that didn't know, the Lions played a little bit of a prank on Aleem the Dream McNeil when he returned. Some of you may not be aware of this song, but there was a song, British R&B singer Mark Morrison's classic 90s jam, Return of the Mac. And what did the Lions play as soon as Aleem McNeil got on the field, practice field? They played Return of the Mac for him. Guess it got a kick out of him and a lot of the guys on the field. And then he proceeded to practice. Kelvin Shepard talked to reporters shortly thereafter and said, man, he thinks he's ready to go now. The Lions are not going to play him this week. I don't think they're going to play him next week. But we need to say this. If every practice keeps going by and he keeps looking as good as he has, he's going to be back on the field sooner versus later. How Shepard's going to use him, it's non-committal, but he did say he's got a lot of different ideas how to put Aleem McNeil into this mix and make this defense, which has looked good already this year, even better. All right, next to the 5 headlines now. Kirby Joseph, Taylor Decker out of Lions practice Thursday by Josh Apier, Pro Football Focus. All right, I got to get this up for you guys. All right, this is for the Cincinnati Bengals, and let's see if I can make that any bigger for you. There's some of their actives, inactives, whatever you want to say, injured players list for yesterday's practice. You guys can see most of their guys should be good to go. So outside of their quarterback, Joe Burrow, they should be all right. Shamir Stewart, the rookie, who had a lot to say about how the Bengals are treating Trey Hendrickson during the offseason. He did not practice. Whatever is going on with his ankle, there's a real possibility he doesn't play this week. We'll wait and see. I don't know if that's going to hugely impact the game, but it is going to be a factor. All right, and next on the list is obviously the Lions. Let me get them up on the screen. And there you go. Zach Cunningham, let's face it, he's going to be out this game. That hamstring, he's going to need some time for that thing to heal up. Taylor Decker, most people, if they don't practice for an entire month, do not play. Taylor Decker is the exception to the rule. And I'm also going to be fair to him. He's played at a very, very high level at tackle for the Lions. Kirby Joseph, it's the $1 million question right now. He has not practiced all this week. Are they pulling a Taylor Decker where they're just letting him play during the game, rest him during the week? It is possible. We'll probably won't know the answer to this one. My guess is till Saturday or Sunday. But we'll wait and see. Sione Vaki hasn't practiced all week. He's not going to play this game. The most often injured running back in the Detroit Lions last 2 years, and it doesn't look like that's changing anytime soon. Limited practice each day for Aleem the Dream McNeil. He's not going to play, I would think, this week. Maybe an outside chance the following week. We'll wait and see what shakes out. But you guys have been asking about Terrion Arnold. He's been limited practice on Wednesday, full practice and participant Thursday, I would assume as long as that holds water today, then you know what? On Sunday, he's a go, and that's good news for the Detroit Lions defense, which, as you guys know, is a little beat up. Also, Clea Dorsey did not practice Wednesday, full practice on Thursday. So, again, another cornerback that could be added to the mix for the Detroit Lions. And now I got to get me back on the screen here. All right. Hey, there we go. Hey, too many buttons at times. All right. Last 5 headlines out. Lions urged to make big swing for edge trade before deadline. Sideline report, Candace Perez. Bunch of guys brought this up early in the week. I know we talked about it a little bit, I think last week with some of the Cam Jordan news. But Carl Granderson from the Saints, he's also in the last, I'd say 2 days, 3 days, really popped up on a lot of different Lions reports, or you could just be fair in Saints trade rumors. So it doesn't mean specifically that the Lions and them are talking, but apparently there has been at least some level of interest between a multitude of teams and the Saints for making this move. Could it be that the Lions make a trade? This one would be more likely, in my opinion, than a lot of the other headlines we've seen in the past several months, just because I don't think it's going to cost you a first or second, maybe not even a third to get them. But, then again, maybe. I could see something like a fourth or a third, maybe a fourth or a fifth, something like that. If the Lions get a few more injuries on the defensive line, they're probably going to make a move. But with Aleem coming back, we're probably only a week or two away from Davenport returning. It just seems at that point they've been pretty productive without some of these guys. I would assume they're going to be even more productive with these guys back. And then Ahmed Hassani, don't forget about him. About another month and a half, he's going to be back to the Lions. So will they make a move? We'll have to wait and see. All right, all that done, said, out of the way. One other thing I wanted to throw at you before we get into the breakdown of the game. This is what the national media is basically saying about this game. They're all saying the same stuff. It should be the Lions all the way. I don't think I'm catching anybody off guard with that, but it could be a pretty favorable contest for Detroit. Let's get into the main topic of the day. All right, if you didn't know by now, Lions have a game this weekend, and they are favored to perform and perform pretty well. Hey, I hate even talking about this stuff. Joe Burrow's not here. We get it. Browning's the quarterback for them. And you know what? Browning ran his mouth a little bit to the Cincinnati media yesterday. And I get some of this is if you're a quarterback, you got to have self-belief. You got to believe your team, what you can do, can supersede the other team. I get all that, and I don't throw any shade at a guy for saying that. But when you throw too much out at the other team is going to notice it. So he had some comments, said, outside of Aiden Hutchinson, there's nobody else on that defensive line that worries their team. They're going to be able to take care of it. They're going to keep Hutch at bay. Nobody else is going to touch him. Jamar Chase and Higginson's, they're ready to carve up the Lions D. He went on a bit of a tangent for about 3 minutes on the mic, talking about why he believes the Cincinnati Bengals are going to win, how they feel disrespected by Vegas. You guys get it. He's using everything he can to pump up himself, his team, etc. The problem with that is you're already in a bad situation if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, unless you've somehow been playing possum for 2 weeks and decide to not show up on offense at all against either your prior two teams. Not only have the Bengals been bad those games, they've been historically bad. Like not scoring a touchdown. I think the only touchdown they've scored since Burrow went out was a garbage time touchdown against the Minnesota Vikings with like a couple minutes left in the game, and the Vikings were already up like 5,000-2. Something like that. That's not a real score, by the way. It's something like that, though. It's pretty close. So why would you bring misery upon yourself? Well, apparently some of these comments got into the ears of Alaquin Muhammad. I get I murder his name, so sorry about that. But he just said, well, we're going to introduce ourselves in what we bring to the table to the Cincinnati Bengals quarterback. So, we talked about it. Oh, gosh, what was it? Last week when John Morton made some comments. I get they were probably meant to be innocent comments. Well, the Cleveland Browns haven't seen a running attack like ours. But you guys heard from it during the national broadcast of the game. The Cleveland Browns took exception to that, and they came out with a mission to try to stop the Lions' rushing attack. Could we say at the end of the day, all right, they didn't stop us from getting, some effectiveness? Yeah. Did they also come out and limit us from getting a 100-yard rusher? That's also true. Some of it would be score of the game indicated it. Whatever you want to say, the Cleveland Browns took exception to it, and I think the Lions now are turning the table on the Cincinnati Bengals. You want to run your mouth about not knowing about any of us, that you only got to stop one guy and you can beat this defense. I think it's not just going to be the defensive front for the Lions that's going to, kind of rally around this. I think it's going to be the secondary and the linebackers. They're going to come out probably with a little bit of extra pep in their step, and they're going to want to lay the hammer on him, the running backs, the receivers. They're going to want to prove their point. You don't disrespect us. We've earned where we are now. We've been where you are. You know what? We don't want to be there again. The other aspect of it, I guess, is the Lions understand you get this game done early. Maybe you get some of the regulars out and, you get some of the subs in, get some more rest, because after this game, the Lions do have two real good opponents that you're going to face. And if you can get somehow these next 3 games before you go into the bye, you're going to have some of these walking wounded back. I don't know about Reed. He might come back after the bye, maybe shortly after, but we can probably agree Davenport's going to be back. McNeil's going to be back, and you can go ahead and see from there. What do you think, guys? Is it just this is what athletes do? They kind of, pump their chest trying to get after each other? Maybe there's some truth to that, but it'll be interesting to see what you guys have to say. All right, let's also go to the national media, and I already showed you one graphic. This is, I'll put it up here again. This is for the NFL preview video that comes out every week for each game. As you can see, each and every one of their people picked the Lions to win, and you can say the Lions are going to win comfortably by some of these scores. I mean, look at Shooks, 38-9. I would take that. Now, let's see what some of the national media outside of this group had to say. Let's see. John Helfringer. Let's see. He takes the Lions by 10. Tyler Dragon, Lions by 10. Richard Morton doesn't give a score, just says Lions should win this one comfortably. Lorenzo Reyes also picking the Detroit Lions. Blake Schuster says, if you don't bet the house on this one, you're missing a boat. I'll take that. I probably agree. And Christopher Broomkampa says, Detroit Lions cover the spread with the best of them. Jake Browning is not the stopper of the mojo for the Detroit Lions. So I think we all agree. The Bengals are in an uphill way. You want me to break down the game? Here's what I'll say. I trying to be as fair as I could be, reviewing the tapes for this games, watching the Bengals the last 2 weeks. I just don't see one spot on this team this game where they match up better. All right, so quarterbacks, it's Detroit. Running backs, it's Detroit. Receivers, and no disrespect to the Cincinnati Bengals, they've got some phenomenal wide receivers. You don't have a quarterback to get them the ball effectively at times. I think it was last week, neither one of their stud receivers got over 40 yards receiving, and some of that was, the other team was getting the quarterback fast enough where the defense just said, hey, keep it all in front and just lay the wood on those receivers over and over and over again. So there was no real risk of deep shots. That's part of it. The other part is, man, if you can't get separation because your quarterback can't get rid of the ball, there's only so much you can do as a receiver. So anyways, I'm going to give the advantage to the Lions. Offensive line, it's the Lions, and it's not even close. The Bengals offensive line's got some injuries, got some missed development. Even this far into the season, I have questions about what are they trying to do in certain stunts or whatever, just coaching opportunities. It's a mess, and the Lions should take advantage of it. Defensive line, I'll do this. I'll give it a push. I do have enough respect for the Cincinnati Bengals defensive line. Say it's close. I still think the Lions are a little bit better, but I'll just say out of respect for them, it's a push right now. The linebackers, it's Detroit. The secondary, it's Detroit. Special teams is Detroit. Think you guys get it. The Lions seem to have a favor at every level of play in this game. And, hey, could it be that the final score, we'll see what Dan O'Damas has to say tomorrow, could it be 55-14? We have to tune in tomorrow to find out. All right, we got about 7 minutes until Professor Steele puts on school, so let's get into the comment section. Michael D. Greetings and salutations, Coach Dan of the Duke Crew. Exclamation point. One pride. Woo! And good to see you. JDC, morning all. Back at you. Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. Woo! And good to see you. Trey, what's good, everybody? Question mark. Why in the world would anyone on the Bengals talk any kind of mess before the game? Good question. They have no chance at all. You don't want to ever roll somebody out. That's obviously how upsets happen, but I would say I probably agree with you. Carrie, morning, everyone. Back at you. Johnny L., good morning, folks. Always good to see you. Bo, there used to be a poster called Last Act of Defiance. Maybe that's what's going on. Could be, in fact. It could be. Yeah, maybe they're trying to be defiant. Jess, greetings, salutations to crew. Should be a great game Sunday for both of our O and D to put up some stats. I hope we get 10 sacks Sunday. The further the separation this game gets, like if the Lions get up 14, 21, etc., you're going to force the Bengals, who already want to throw the ball way more than they want to run the ball, into real advantageous situations for that defense to get after the quarterback. You could be right. We could have a big sack day. Johnny L, what kind of smack are they talking about? And now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Drake, reading over the injury report, it feels like TA will be good, but Kirby won't play. It is, if I had to say right now on the mic what I thought, that you're probably going with that route, and then probably Avonte Maddox takes over for Kirby Joseph. Good morning, Duke Crew. Oh, yeah, the Bengals QB calls out the Lions. Looks like the class clown wants his butt kicked by the Lions. Probably a lot of truth to that. And I get you want to believe in yourself. You want your team to believe in you. I just think you can do it some other ways instead of giving bulletin board material. Gary, don't forget to hit that like button. Hit all the buttons. Dave, does anyone know as of now when McNeil will return? No, nothing official as of yet. One Pride, good morning, Duke Crew. Ready to see our Lions break the Bengals? Let's break them on down. And historically speaking, I don't remember the exact number, but I always say they've won 10 out of the 14 games ever played between the two organizations. So you know what? This is a good opportunity for the Lions to add another win to the total. Johnny L, how bad is the Kirby injury, Drake? Well, he's got a PCL strain. Obviously, he came back last week. I get why they may be giving him rest throughout the week to try to keep him as preserved as possible for game day. You don't want to overlook anybody, but if you got an opportunity to rest that thing, I would be tempted as a coach to let him sit out this one. Although I think if he was going to play, he's going to want to play. Amy, greetings and salutations, ultra fine Duke Crew, and please give a big thumbs up for our great Coach Dan and the Fabulous Podcast! Exclamation point. One Pride, go Lions. Thank you for that, Amy. As always, a good morning to you. France, 2 straight weeks we've been favored by 8 or more points. Haven't seen that in a long time. I can't think of the last time in back-to-back weeks I've seen the Lions achieve that. Hookadoo, top of the morning, Johnny L, the head chief of grit. You might be right with that. Drake, he ain't practicing this week and missed part of last week's game. Johnny L, that is correct. Lauren, good morning, Coach Dan and the world famous Duke Crew. Back at you. Got the checked in early today. Well, welcome on into an early episode of the show. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. I got Sunday off and I'm taking the kids to the game. Going to be a long drive, but should be some fun. Hey, have a great time with the family. Go enjoy the game. You got good weather. It's going to be in the 70s, so I don't think you could ask for a better road trip in an outdoor game. Henry Moore, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. What a team. What a podcast. Exclamation point. What a time being a Lions fan. Woo! Hey, always a pleasure to see you, Henry. Johnny L, what's shaking, everybody? Not too much. How about you? Lauren, Bo Booth, Hookadoo, Stephanie, Wilder, Johnny L, good morning, all. Back at you. Lauren, Johnny L, doing some paperwork while I wait on trucks. Hassany Madley, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Always good to see you. Hopefully having a good afternoon there in Cairo. Jess, are they going to need to they're going to need to stop a rushing and taking? I agree with what you said, Coach, since he will have to overcommit to slow that down, which opens up the passing game even more. Yeah, 100% there. You're going to overcommit, which means, man, when they realize that it's not a run, they are going to have to get after the quarterback because they're not dropping back into coverage at that point, which, again, further exacerbates the play action, which further probably helps what this Lions passing attack is going to do to the Bengals. All right, Hookadoo. Dang, Stephanie Water, you'll have 2 wins in just over a week. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Gary, I just hope they take their time bringing any injured player back. We're a stacked team. No need to rush it and have another problem. Want to be ready for postseason. Agree with that fully, 100%. Johnny, I do miss operating those forks, Lauren. Hussey Manley, good morning to all my friends and Lions fans. Go Lions. Hey, good to see you. As always, my friend, hopefully thoughts and prayers with your family for your son's recovery. Hookadoo. And a great afternoon, Mr. Hassani. We're so ready for a mid to be coming back. Exclamation point. I'm down with that. John, good morning, Coach the Duke Crew. He is going to be fine out. He's going to find out the defense is much improved. He is not Joey Burrow. No, he is not. And that is part of their problem. Johnny L, good morning to you, Mr. Madley. Lauren, Johnny L, yeah, man, I can't say I love my job, but I don't hate it, and I'm good at it. So, hey, nothing wrong with that. Bo, good day, Madley. 100%. JDC, Trade Forge rocks, and he rolls. Hookadoo, Lauren, always a great day when we have you on Lions Talk Live. I concur with that. I say, Madley, good morning, sir. Bo, Lauren, not a bad situation. Susan Scott, after this game, we should have 2 great ones before the week off. Correct? Lauren, Hookadoo, I always try to catch the full show, blown member of the Duke Crew. Now I'm coming up on a year of being here. Hey, well, thank you for always being a part of the Duke Crew. Johnny L, I was in charge of the yard, also our packaging plant. Okay, at our packaging plant. Lauren, Leonard, excuse me. Good morning, Dan and Duco. Don't forget to hit that like button. Woo! Thank God it's Friday. Hey, 2 days to go. 5 Variants Friday. What did Browning say? Question mark. And why in the world would you say anything? That's a fair question to ask. All right, guys, it's about that time to bring over our special guest. He's on deck. He's warming up. I see him getting ready in the bullpen. Let's go over to, you know him, you love him. He's the host of the most. Let's go over to Professor Steele. School's in session, kids of all ages. We got the professor here. And how are you doing today, Kurt?
Good morning. I got your signal to bring in the righty from the bullpen. So what's going on, everyone?
You know, we got a game here, and it seems like most of the national media would say the Lions are pretty heavily favored. If you're the Lions, what are you doing to get into this game, get out, and be effective in it?
I think it's like Dan Campbell has always preached, you know what I'm saying? You just stick to your standards. It's not about the Bengals. It's about the Lions. You know, you have to play your game and you have to do what you know you can do out there on the field. So you know what I mean? Like the greatest competition is between yourselves, not your opponent.
So when you look at the Bengals, is there anything a Lions fan or the Lions themselves should be concerned with?
Oh, hell yeah. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. You have to pay attention to those two guys, man. Those guys are monsters. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm not really sure if I'm worried about that. I mean, Hendrickson, of course, but he hasn't had the best season, and their defense is struggling right now. Their offense is, I mean, they're just struggling. They're just riding a struggle bus right now. I mean, you look at this team, man. I think I look at their offense. What are the 32nd in total offense, 32nd in rush offense, 30th in passing offense, 30th in total points per game. It's terrible. Defense, 30th in total defense, 30th in pass defense. I mean, like 26 in run defense. It's just a total crap show right now in Cleveland. But their defense isn't any better than it was last year. It's probably even worse.
You know, I try to look at this game and say, man, we get the Lions MCDC. He wants to pound the ball. I got to imagine they're going to be trying to unleash both running backs, maybe 50 running backs on the Bengals. That being said, you could probably use that to your advantage if you want to go play action. What do you think the Bengals have to do to stop the rushing attack first and then try to slow down the passing attack? Yeah.
Probably say a little prayer first for each snap. It'd be like their run defense is horrible, man. Like, and I think this should be a big demo game. Reason being, he is a Cincinnati native. Anytime there's, and I'm going to talk about this on my show here next here at 8:00. But like anytime there's any type of emotional game or game that has type of some kind of a personal feel to David Montgomery, he absolutely becomes a beast, man. He always plays well against the Bears. He always takes out his frustration on them, and this is his first time actually playing at home. He played Cincinnati once when he was with the Bears, but it was in Pittsburgh. It was in Chicago. So he's never played at home. He's never went back home to play. So I think it should be a big game for him. Give him the rock and let him go in there and terrorize the Bengals run defense. And we have two Cincinnati natives on the roster. People really, I don't know if y'all really realize that. And the other guys on the other side of the ball is Derek Barnes. He's a Cincinnati native. I don't know if you guys remember when Big Wick got his NFL Man of the Year. Derek Barnes, he mentioned Derek Barnes in his speech, and he was talking about when he was in Cincinnati and he went to the Boys and Girls Club. That was one of the kids he mentored, and once they played, the Rams and Lions played, he went up to Wood after the game and says, "I don't know if you remember me. I used to be in the Boys and Girls Club." So you got two Cincinnati natives, man. They should go in there and wreck shop the whole game. Both those guys should have really big games back in Cincinnati.
Let's talk about some of the rookies so far this season, because let's face it, Lions, Last year, they didn't really rely on rookies. This year, they do have a couple stepping up to the plate because of need, necessity, whatever it may be. But break down the big three: Tesla, Williams, Ratledge.
I didn't know we had rookies on the team. We have rookies on the team?
Yeah,
They do. They just have a player like it right now. I would
They
say
are
probably Tesla's probably got having a rookie kind of like learning curve with this learning how to separate on his routes. But Ratledge and Williams, man, they're playing like they've been on their roster for years. So yeah, those two guys are balling out, man. And it's gonna be interesting to see what happens when McNeil comes back. So how is that rotation gonna work out? Because we already know that McNeil and Williams are gonna be the tandem going forward. But man, Williams is playing some really good ball, you know what I'm saying? And then Ratledge he's becoming an absolute monster right next to Penei Sewell, man. That's becoming a formidable duo on that right side of the offensive line, man. And you run the ball that way, they pass block well together, man. They're becoming a really good team, man. And think about this. Penei Sewell's been in the league for a minute, and he's only 2 years probably older or about the same age as a lot of rookies in the league right now. He's 24 years old. Guy's 24. He plays like he's freaking 30. Like, like that's a monster, man. But yeah, I mean, like, besides that first game of the season, man, Ratledge has been playing his behind off, man, and I like what he's doing right now. He's a mauler. He's nasty. He can get up to the second level, and I think his play makes the play of Graham Glasgow even better, you know, at center. So yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing with him, man, and just what the disruptive force of Williams, man, batting down passes, eating up blocks in the run game, and him next to Reader is great, man. And then we get our best interior pass rusher back in the McNeil. It's gonna be some slow slinging and some flower bringing for a lot of offenses in the NFL, man, when the Lions come to town.
So talk about that defensive line, because it sounds like, you know, it's only been 2 days he's been back, but it sounds like Aleem is making an impact there. How good, in your opinion, does this defensive line and more importantly the rotation become when you get him back, you get Davenport back, etc.?
Man, it's gonna be crazy because it's gonna be like really no drop off when you rotate guys in. I mean, like, and then once you can line up Aleem McNeil next to Hutch. Oh my God. I know we can't be afraid because of what happened last year, that play that happened with Hutch. I'm not afraid to line up and McNeil and Hutch sitting next to each other, freak accident, whatever. But they were really eating last year when they lined up against next to one another. So that's going to be a formidable, like, really, you can't really, like, who do you double team when you go next to, when you got Hutch and Aleem next to each other? Because either you double team either one of them and the other one's going to have a sack in the pass game. So,
well, when you talk about those guys and then you talk about some of the rotational pieces,
mm-hmm.
you know, we're whatever it is, 5 weeks away from the trade deadline, something like that. You guys, I mean, you know as well as anybody, people love to hear about trade, rumors, scenarios. Do you think there's any possibility once McNeil's back, Davenport's back, I don't know, Muhammad's back and everything, the Lions even consider really going out and making a splash move?
I really don't think so. I mean, like, they have a lot of depth there too. I mean, like, you got a guy like Lacey, and then you got a guy like Wheat that are still like just scratching the surface because they're still just learning the system. So, I mean, you look at Lacey, and he's that tweener. Like, they like those tweener guys, and they can play both. Like, look at O'Connor. O'Connor was really the starting edge last week across from Aiden Hutchinson, and he was being disruptive. So, you look at this defensive rotation, man, on the line, it's really, really good, man. Even the rotation of the backs, the front seven. I mean, even looking at the rotation with the linebackers, man, there's no really drop off. I mean, like, except for you have Cunningham out right now, but you bring it like Nowaski's played plenty of snaps, man. You bring a guy like Stewart, who's like a missile toward the ball. You seen him make some plenty of stops on the goal line in the last game versus the Browns, and he was just firing off. So it's just one of those things where I'm loving what the Lions are doing with their personnel right now. They're fitting the guys that fit this system and fit this team. And For all everyone who kept saying that we should bring this guy in, bring that guy in, we already know it. The Lions have a thing, man. You got to fit the scheme and you got to fit the team. If you don't fit those two things, you're not coming to Detroit.
Absolutely. After week one, we get it. It was doom and gloom in Detroit land. Man, the Green Bay Packers look unstoppable. The Lions looked like trash. Oh my gosh, we're not going to win a game. I think there were a couple people in the comment section saying, man, we're going for the number 3 pick, number 5 pick, etc. It is what it is. But the Green Bay Packers in recent weeks seem like they've dropped off a little bit. If you've watched them at all, tell me, in your opinion, what has happened to them?
In the illustrious words of Denny Green, we are who they thought they were.
Right.
They're deep, especially that secondary. I'm like, oh, these guys are fine. I'm like, this is the same dudes from last year.
Right.
They're going to come back down, and they have, man. That secondary is absolute trash, man. It is. When we play them again, and when they come to Ford Field, we play them again, man. We're gonna show them who the kings of the North are. You know, I think it was the first game. We had our young guys in there. That was our preseason game. And I think it was like just a snowball effect of like all the emotions. And you got the Parsons coming in there, and it was just a whole bunch of it was a whole bunch of. It was going to be hard to beat Green Bay, anybody who came in there that day, but they just kind of came back down to earth. I mean, like that secondary isn't that great, and like they play that big shell. Oh, they play the best zone in the league.
Right.
There's always holes in the zone, man. I just think the way that the game was being called and just everything was just a little bit different. And I think we're going to be fine, especially when we play them again, man. We're already back in first place. So, I mean, what do you think about that? So
it'd be interesting to get your take, and Duke Crew, you can listen to this, but when what do you want to call him? The guy who was traded to Green Bay, Parsons, was traded there. Everybody talked about the back. They talked about the injection he was going to have to take to try to, get over that. In my opinion, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts or your guys' thoughts in the comment section. But watching that Dallas game and then the game before that, when they lost to Cleveland, at least in my eyes, it looks like that shot may already be wearing off him a little bit. That you can start seeing him wincing a little bit more. You can see his bend starting to dissipate a little bit. If this thing ends up being a problem for him, how effective is he by the playoffs? And then how much of a do you have to revisit that trade and go, man, you traded for a guy with a bad back that I don't think it's ever going to be right again?
It's going to be interesting to see. I can't say that the guy's not a good player.
Right.
He is. He is. When he's healthy, he's a really good player. He's effective. And he's kind of has that some of that Aiden Hudson effect where the guy across from him is going to eat because of the fact that how he affects the game and the guys are opposite of him, he makes them better. But he hasn't played a lot of football the last 2 years. Missed a lot of time last year with the back and all the other injuries that he's had. Coming into this season, you know what I'm saying? You get all the emotions. Remember, the guy didn't play. Guy didn't play in the preseason. The guy didn't play he was a limited participant during Cowboy training camp. So we didn't have a camp this year. So you get him healthy, you know what I'm saying? He can be effective. But and people were talking and someone was talking about, and I think it was Chad Johnson. So, well, we see why Parsons got the big contract and yada yada yada, and Aiden Hudson is not worth this much. I mean, let me see here. Let me kind of take a look at this thing, man. Aiden Hudson has 4 sacks. And let me scroll down. Michael Parsons has 2.5, and they played the same amount of games. I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Right. So let's get back to the Lions real quick. I just wanted your thoughts on that, just because I was kind of thinking about it the other day. But getting back to the Lions, Jared Goff, he's been playing at a pretty high clip to start this year. How good is he kind of developed into, and how hard is it, in your opinion, to stop him nowadays?
As the ESPN anchor said, the Goff father is absolutely on a tear right now, and I think he's going to continue that. I mean, even the bad game he had last week when he kind of lost that ball and kind of like lost that coverage on the interception, he's like have another coach on the field. Like, you look at some of the plays that he can go out there and dictate the offense and dictate to the defense what the offense is going to do. The play where he threw the touchdown on the wide receiver screen to Amon-Ra St. Brown, that wasn't even the play. It wasn't even close to the play. He saw what the defense was doing. He checked out of that play to a different play to get the matchup correctly and get the ball to St. Brown for that touchdown. You don't get that a lot, man. He's a coach on the field. And my man, Dr. Detroit, he's a member of the Duke Crew, and he's, of course, a member of our channel as well over there on Boss Up Ball Out. He's like, you have to realize what he is. Like, some people, they want him to be something different. They want to, they saw what Stafford was and all these other guys that are mobile. He's a statuesque, quarterback. He can move around in the pocket, but he's so smart and cerebral. He makes anticipatory throws. He throws guys open, and he knows the offense so much back and forth, man, where he can make sure this team is rolling. And it's like an extension of a Johnny Morton or Ben Johnson on the field, because he knows the game and he sees the game the same way they do. So Jared Goff is going to be on a tear. I don't care what I don't care what people think on the national media. I don't understand why he's a top 10 quarterback and he performs that way. And he's not your whatever everyone's, he doesn't have a lot of flash and dash or all this stuff like Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, but he's a genius out there on the field, man. And he knows he's probably the smartest quarterback in the game right now.
I'll go with that. All right, Professor Steele, I want to thank you for coming on this morning and giving us your expert opinion on things. Why don't you go ahead and give yourself a shout out to everybody where they can find you, help support your channel, etc.
Hey, man, I'm on the Boss Up Ball Out podcast. We see the logo, man. We're on this morning at 8 a.m. live, man. Come hang out. We're going to talk about some matchups that the Lions can go ahead and take advantage of and exploit to get this win on Sunday versus the Cincinnati Bengals, man. Because after Sunday, they're going to be who was that sacking our quarterback? It's Aiden Hutchinson, man. Come check us out at 8 a.m.
All right, he is Professor Steele. Go check him up. He is the host of the most over on the Boss Up Ball Out channel. Kurt, thanks for your time, my friend, as always.
Hey, see you guys soon, man. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it, man. And what up, though, Duke Crew? We'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, we'll see you next time, Kurt. All right, Duke Crew, that's going to wrap up the show today. I've got to check out a little early today, but if there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. If you would be so kind before checking on out, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, hit all the buttons. Take care. Do something nice for somebody you don't know. Be a good human being. And you know what? We'll see you guys all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, all. Have a good one.